Was the Origin series over at the 7 minute mark of the first State of Origin encounter? There's a case to say yes. Very hard to get back from here. I was on air live at the time, couldn't really keep an eye on it. I'm only just getting across it now. Pretend I know nothing. It's not actually a stretch. Talk me through it. Unpack it for me, MG. Where does this stand? What's happening? Is it fair decision? Please tell me everything I need to know.
Yeah, 7th-minute mark, Joseph Swalihi come out of the line to put a tackle on Maurice Walsh, and it hit him. And this is where the conjecture all come in. Was there mitigating circumstances? Did Walsh slip a tad? Did Swalihi? There's no mistake that he hit him in the head, but it wasn't intentional. It was careless. And my first thought was that's definitely 10 minutes in the bin. Definitely. When he sent him off, I was shocked because that was the end of the game. You can't win it's very hard to win a club game with 12 men. You cannot win an Origin game. It's impossible to win with 12 men. You never can because it's just such a fast game. So now we've got to think about what happens in these circumstances if they ever arise again. If Swaley, does he stay off the field for the whole game, which I think would have happened, and then do you bring another player on after 10 minutes so the spectacle isn't broken? There's so many things that are going through my head at the moment because New South Wales, basically after that 7th minute, they were gone. They tried their hardest to get back in the game, but Queensland was too fast.
It blew apart late, didn't it? Was that what happened? So they hung in there. They were game.
Yeah, they were game.
Was the plan to target Reece Walsh? Do you think that was premeditated and that was an instance of what tactics they'd talked about?
Mickey, the target is to target every Queenslander when you're a New South Welshman, not just Reece Walsh because he's the pin-up kid, and that's the one that I think that's why it's. But Reece Walsh did pass his HIA, but he was okay after the game, and they activated their 18th man, which was Kafusi. And this is where look.
He passed his HIA. There's a pretty ordinary picture of him on the front of the Daily Telegraph today that doesn't look like he's passing his HIA, to be honest.
No, I agree. And that's the look on the Telegraph has gone with on the front page of the paper today, and I'll get a lot of people speaking about. Everyone's talking about that 7th minute mark, and everyone's got their opinion on it, Mickey, as well. And my opinion is that it was not a send-off.
It's a massive hit to the game, the series, and I tell you what, it'll be one for the ages if the Blues can get themselves out of this massive hole. They've got to go to Melbourne and then go to Brisbane. So was it all over at the 7-minute mark? I don't know. And just before we go to the calls, we're talking about one of the biggest moments in Origin history, 7 minutes into the first Origin of the year, and the whole series is reshaped by what occurred at the 7-minute mark. What was said immediately afterwards, MG, in the aftermath?
Obviously, Madge Maguire at the press conference was disappointed. This is what he had to say about the whole incident.
I think earlier on in the year, he ended up with a broken jaw, I think, and there was no send-off. So it's a big call at this level. I mean, it's tackle, he was falling, but again, I'll have to have another look at it. But I think it's a massive call for a game like this.
Yeah, he speaks about the Taylor May tackle on Reece Walsh earlier in the season when it was basically a head clash. He broke his jaw in that incident, but there was no sin bin, there was no send-off for Taylor May then. So that's why Madge is probably disappointed on that, and especially in such a big game. I mean, my daughters were there last night, and they were texting back and forth, and they said once that send-off happened, the whole area of the stadium just left.
What did Billy Slater have to say after the game?
He was kind of a bit coy about it. He didn't want to he didn't want to answer any of the questions, but he did say this.
He says to the commentary team, "You don't want to know what I think about that tackle or that decision. Can you tell us now?" And it seemed like I guess you were angry at the time, or judging by that response.
I'll keep my feelings about that to myself.
Did you feel that New South Wales made a point to target Reece illegally with that hit?
I've no idea, but I'll keep my feelings about that to myself.
Yeah, he's a bit of seething. That's a bit through gritted teeth there. When you don't say, I'll keep my feelings to myself, that means you're not going to like what I've got to say.
Very true.
Let's go to the call. Steve, what did you make of it all?
The tackle was absolutely a joke. It was careless. It wasn't reckless. I think Klein is so far out of his depth these days, refereeing big games like this. He just ruined a spectacle.
Well, there's no denying the game was ruined. Whether it was his fault or not, what do you think? Has he overstepped the bounds here as a officiator?
No,
MG?
he would have got the instructions from the bunker. They would have looked at it, and then they would have said to Klein that you've got nothing but to send him off. So I don't think. Look, whether you think Klein was good or bad, it's. I think it's irrespective. I think the whole incident just marred. It's never been. It's the quickest send off in Origin history, Mickey. It's the first time a debutant's ever been sent off in our game. So it was just a lot of firsts last night that we're still kind of milling over this morning.
Yeah. Louise, what do you think?
Well, I'm with MG. It definitely wasn't intentional. It was reckless, yep. But I believe that the referee single-handedly ruined the first game of Origin, basically.
What was the appropriate penalty? What was the appropriate response?
I think probably 10 minutes. Maybe discipline after the game, but definitely not send off in State of Origin. You've got all those people who pay good money for tickets. Sell-out crowd. Come on.
What happens now, MG? Does he face a tribunal during the week? Is he?
He's been given 4 to 5 weeks.
Four to 5
weeks he's looking at. So yeah.
So they're taking it very seriously.
Yeah, the crime did who they are. And look, and as Louise said, she makes a really good point about after the match he would have been dealt with. And I've got no dramas, no queries about that. But at the time, when it was obviously it's Joseph Swiley, he's not. When they say that it's not his go, well, it has to be his go because that's what he did last night. But he's not that type of player.
I want to ask you this, MG. An incident like that, when emotions are running high, in 7 minutes into the first game of Origin, in your day, what would have been the aftermath? Because I was surprised, a bit shocked that there was no melee, that there was no remonstration, that if there's a thought that Reece Walsh would have been targeted, then you need to let them know straight off the bat, right, that that's not going to fly.
You make a very, very good point. As I said, as an ex-player, when I see something on a footy field that's untoward, I think, he's in trouble. I did not think that of Swalihi last night. And you know what? The Queensland forwards didn't either, because if the Queensland forwards thought it was illegal, they would have come in.
They would have been in.
They would have thrown punches, like you would. If you thought something illegal happened to one of your players, you'd be throwing punches. You wouldn't worry about the aftermath or the ramifications. And that didn't happen. Not one person went up to Swalihi from the other side. So that's a very good point.
That's a telling point.